Take a moment to consider, what is happiness in our world? How is it portrayed? Open any glossy magazine, turn on a YouTube ad, scroll through your social media feed, and a grand panorama unfolds before you. It's a dazzling display where every product, every service, every lifestyle doesn't just promise but guarantees you this very happiness. Smiling faces, perfect families, flawless bodies, endless travels, breakfasts in Bali, and sunsets in the Maldives. An unsmiling person is seen as a defect, an error in the system. They don't fit into this meticulously filtered, hyper-positive world. Social media isn't just a gallery of ideal smiles. It's more of an arena where each of us is compelled to parade our own carefully polished version of happiness. Every post is a small manifesto of success, joy, and endless contentment. We see others' meticulously filtered realities and involuntarily compare them to our own, which is imperfect, sometimes boring, and occasionally downright sad. And this is where it gets interesting. This comparison doesn't inspire, it breeds anxiety. Others' demonstrative happiness becomes not a beacon, but a heavy weight dragging us down. It whispers, "You're not happy enough. You don't measure up." I look at this and see not just a pursuit of bliss, but something else, an almost obsessive idea that permeates our culture. Happiness has become not merely a desire, but an absolute imperative. If you're not happy, it means you're doing something wrong. You haven't tried hard enough, haven't bought the right course, haven't mastered the correct practices. This is a new kind of tyranny. The tyranny of positivity, which leaves no room for melancholy, for doubt, for ordinary, unembellished life. We are led to believe that sadness, apathy, and anxiety are not normal human states, but annoying glitches that must be immediately fixed. Watching this carnival of emotions, this endless race for the perfect life, I often ask myself, where is the place for authenticity here? Where is the space for sadness, for reflection, for genuine, unforced silence, in which alone something real can be born? Sometimes it feels as if we are playing some universal game where the main prize is a perfectly posed smile in a photo, rather than an inner, deep sense of peace. But here's the paradox, the true enigma that haunts me, and perhaps you too. If happiness is so actively sold, so persistently advertised, so unequivocally demanded of us, then why does it so damn often slip away? Why, despite all these recipes, life hacks, and guaranteed paths, do we feel increasingly empty, increasingly anxious? It's as if the harder we chase it, the further it retreats from us, transforming into a mirage on the horizon. It was this mirage, this eternal, exhausting chase for what constantly eludes us, that troubled one of history's most insightful and perhaps most unpopular thinkers. His name was Arthur Schopenhauer. He lived in the 19th century, but his ideas sound as if he peered into our time, into our news feeds, into our banner ads, and saw this entire grand but empty spectacle. Schopenhauer was a man who didn't play by the rules. He didn't fit into the confines of his time, just as an unsmiling person doesn't fit into our filtered reality. He was a recluse, a misanthrope, a genius whose works remained unnoticed for decades, while the world around him pursued progress and the illusion of universal happiness. His own life was far from the idyllic pictures in glossy magazines. Complex relationships with his mother, loneliness, a struggle for recognition, a constant feeling of displacement. He didn't seek comfort in pretty packaging, nor did he try to fit into a society he considered hypocritical. And it was this detachment, this personal pain, this experience as an outsider that allowed him to see what remained invisible to others. He wasn't part of the crowd in this spectacle of universal contentment. He was a spectator who dared to expose its underbelly. His philosophy isn't just a set of theories. It's the cry of a soul who deeply felt the absurdity of human existence and had the courage to speak about it aloud. At a time when the world was awash in Enlightenment optimism and romantic ideals, Schopenhauer dared to shatter the most important myth, the myth that happiness is our natural goal, our right, our guaranteed reward. He asserted the opposite. Life is, in essence, suffering, not the kind of suffering that can be fixed by buying a new gadget or going on vacation. No, it's a fundamental, inherent property of our existence, stemming from our endless, insatiable will to life, which constantly pushes us toward new desires, new needs, new dissatisfaction. Happiness, according to Schopenhauer, is not a destination, not a constant state of bliss. It is merely the absence of suffering, a brief respite, a fleeting relief from pain, from boredom, from the craving for something more. As soon as one desire is satisfied, a new one immediately takes its place, and the cycle of dissatisfaction begins anew. It's no wonder he was called the philosopher of pessimism. He was a voice that spoke the truth when everyone else preferred a sweet lie. He didn't offer you a recipe for the perfect life, because he knew no such life exists. He offered something more valuable, an understanding of why our chase for a mirage is doomed. He dared to look into the abyss, to show us that happiness is not something that can be bought, sold, or guaranteed. It's not something to boast about on social media. It's not what the world promises, but what it hides from us. And what exactly did he see? What abyss did he reveal? Schopenhauer didn't just criticize a superficial understanding of happiness. He mercilessly exposed the mechanism that, in his view, condemns us to eternal dissatisfaction. He asserted that happiness, in the sense we seek it, as a constant state of bliss, joy, euphoria, is unattainable. It's not just difficult, it fundamentally contradicts the very nature of our existence. Imagine an invisible but omnipotent force that drives each of us. Schopenhauer called it the will to life, Wille zum Leben. This is not our conscious will, not our desires in the ordinary sense. It is something much deeper, irrational, blind, and insatiable. It is a primal impulse, pushing all living things toward existence, reproduction, and endless striving and satisfaction. We do not possess this will, rather, we are possessed by it. It is our inner engine that never stops. It is from this insatiable will that our desires are born. Every desire is a manifestation of lack, deficiency, pain. We want something because we don't have it, and that absence causes us suffering. When we finally achieve what we desire, buy a new gadget, get a promotion, find the perfect partner, there is a brief moment of relief, a fleeting feeling of satisfaction. This is what we mistakenly take for happiness. But what happens next? Think about yourself. You saved for a long time for a new, most desired smartphone. Months of waiting, anticipation. Finally, it's in your hands. The first few days, euphoria, delight. You examine it, install apps, take your first photos. But a week passes, a month, and then what? It becomes an ordinary item. The admiration fades, and on the horizon, a new model, a new feature, a new object of desire already looms, which you feel will bring that elusive sense of completeness. Or perhaps you spent years striving for a particular position, for a coveted office. You worked tirelessly, sacrificing your personal life, and now you've reached the top. The first few days, pride, a sense of accomplishment. But very soon, routine consumes even that joy. New tasks, new stresses appear, and with them, new dissatisfaction. You start dreaming of the next step, of a different company, of more power, or conversely, of peace that seems unattainable. Even in the realm of personal relationships, this cycle manifests with merciless clarity. You fall in love, experience incredible attraction. It seems you've found your soulmate. The honeymoon lasts, but then idealization fades. Daily life begins, familiarity sets in, and what seemed like a source of endless happiness simply becomes a part of your life, and sometimes a source of new frustrations. And now you notice your gaze starting to wander, how the thought crosses your mind, what if there's someone else? Someone who will give me that feeling of novelty, that first euphoria again. It is precisely here in this merciless cyclicality that Schopenhauer saw the root of our suffering. The satisfaction of a desire brings only temporary relief, which is instantly replaced either by boredom or by the emergence of a new desire. We are like a traveler walking through a desert who sees a mirage of an oasis. He chases it, reaches the spot, but there is no water, and the mirage simply moves further away. Our will to life can never be fully satisfied. It is a bottomless barrel that cannot be filled. It constantly demands new objects, new goals, new conquests. And it is this eternal chase, this endless striving that never reaches a final stop, that is our fundamental pain. Thus, happiness, in our common understanding, is not a destination. It is merely a brief sigh of relief between two waves of suffering, suffering from an unfulfilled desire and suffering from the boredom that sets in after its fulfillment. Schopenhauer was not a pessimist who simply loved to be sad. He was a visionary who dared to look at human nature without rose-tinted glasses and saw that the very structure of our being, driven by a blind and insatiable will, condemns us to an eternal, exhausting chase for a mirage that constantly eludes us. And the deeper you realize this, the clearer it becomes why all our attempts to catch happiness and hold on to it are doomed to fail. If happiness is not a destination, but merely a brief exhale, a fleeting calm between the storms of desires and boredom, then what does that mean for us? For those who grew up in a culture where happiness is the holy grail, the absolute standard of a successful life. This is not just a philosophical theory, it's a gut punch. After all, our entire value system, this entire glossy world that we so diligently build, rests on a completely opposite idea. From childhood we were taught, be happy, strive for happiness. Happiness is your goal, your right, your reward for diligence. And suddenly a voice from the 19th century, the voice of Arthur Schopenhauer, mercilessly shatters this cozy illusion. He doesn't just say, he screams, you are chasing a phantom. Happiness, according to Schopenhauer, is not the filling of emptiness, but its temporary disappearance. It is not a shining light, but merely the absence of darkness. Imagine not just a traveler in the desert, but a person who has spent their entire life running in circles. They see a mirage of an oasis in the distance, full of cool water and shade. They rush towards it, exhausted, with their last ounce of strength. And then they reach the place where paradise seemed to be. And what? There's no water, only dust and heat, and the mirage already shimmers further, beyond the horizon, beckoning with new hope. This race is endless. We run gasping for breath in search of what constantly eludes us, leaving behind only the taste of disappointment and a new, even more tormenting thirst. Our society, with its cult of positivity, its endless advice on how to be happy, its filtered lives on social media, it's a giant machine for producing these mirages. And every time we don't achieve what was promised, when the euphoria from a new purchase, a new status, a new acquaintance fades, we feel cheated. Not by the world, no, but by ourselves. Because we didn't try hard enough, didn't meditate correctly, didn't buy the right course. This lie about constant, achievable happiness is the cruelest of all. It makes suffering not just inevitable, but shameful. It forbids us from being sad, anxious, just human, with the full spectrum of natural emotions. Schopenhauer was not a cynic who simply loved to be sad. He was a perceptive realist. He saw that this eternal chase, this denial of suffering as an inherent part of life, is the source of our deepest underlying anxiety. We try to fill the bottomless barrel of the will, and each time we fail. And this failure, this feeling of not enough, is the hidden suffering that the world tries to mask with bright wrappers and ostentatious well-being. This is an uncomfortable truth, isn't it? It's not what you want to hear as you scroll through your news feed. It's not the truth sold at personal growth seminars. It's uncomfortable because it shatters a cozy illusion. It forces us to look reality in the eye, where pain is not a glitch, but the norm. Where peace is not the absence of problems, but the acceptance of their inevitability. Where happiness is not an endpoint, but merely a brief, precious liberation from the burden of desires. And it is in this acceptance, in this refusal of the endless, exhausting chase for a phantom, that the paradoxical path to true, quiet, but deep tranquility lies. Because when you stop demanding constant euphoria from life, you begin to appreciate short moments of peace. You begin to see not what you lack, but what you already have. The ability to be, to feel, to be aware, even if that awareness is sometimes painful. And this, perhaps, is the most important freedom that Schopenhauer's philosophy can offer. And if this truth about the eternal chase for a mirage seems merciless to you, do not despair too quickly. Schopenhauer, that stern prophet of human nature, did not leave us in an abyss of hopelessness. He didn't just expose the mechanism of our suffering, he pointed to narrow paths leading away from this exhausting race. He offered not a recipe for happiness, but something far more valuable, a path to liberation from suffering. And this path lies not through external acquisitions, but through internal transformation, through art, music, contemplation, and profound philosophy. Imagine that you can finally press an invisible pause button in this endless race of desires. Schopenhauer asserted that it is in such moments, when we cease to be prisoners of our insatiable will, that we attain a temporary but profound tranquility. This happens when our consciousness, usually enslaved by striving for something, becomes liberated and transforms into a pure, impersonal mirror of the world. We stop wanting and simply begin to contemplate. Immerse yourself in music. Close your eyes and let a Beethoven symphony or a meditative melody envelop you. What happens in that moment? You're not thinking about unpaid bills, what you need to buy, or others' perfect lives on social media. You are not striving for anything. You simply exist. Music, according to Schopenhauer, is unique. It doesn't copy the phenomena of the world, but directly expresses the will itself, its rhythms, its highs and lows, its eternal movement. And when we listen to it, we become one with this movement, yet remain detached observers, free from its tyranny. It's like rising above a stormy ocean in a hot air balloon. You see the full power of the elements, but you yourself are at peace. Or take art. Imagine yourself before a masterpiece of painting, be it a Rembrandt canvas or an abstract Kandinsky composition. You don't want to eat this painting. You don't strive to possess it. You don't compare it to your own life. You simply stand and look. You perceive its form, color, composition, idea. In that moment, your consciousness is cleansed of personal interests and desires. You become a pure, will-less subject of knowledge, as Schopenhauer said. This is not just a feast for the eyes. It's a brief liberation from the chains of the will, a moment when you see the world not through the prism of your needs, but as it is, as an idea. This is not happiness in the usual sense. It is the bliss of peace, fleeting but piercingly real. The same thing happens with the contemplation of nature, with deep immersion in philosophical thought. When you stand on a mountaintop gazing at the boundless horizon, or sit by the sea, listening to the sound of the waves, your personal egoistic will subsides. You become part of something greater, and in this dissolution of the personal I into impersonal contemplation, a wonderful peace is born. Or when you delve into a complex philosophical concept, trying to grasp its essence. You distract yourself from daily worries, from intrusive desires, and your mind finds refuge in pure knowledge. Schopenhauer did not propose this as a permanent state. He was a realist. He knew that the will would inevitably return, that desires would overwhelm us again. But these moments, these Sabbaths of the tormented will, as he called them, are invaluable. They give us a respite, showing that there is another way of being, not in constant striving, but in silent, disinterested contemplation. This is not the loud, showy happiness that is advertised everywhere. It is a deep, quiet peace that requires no proof, needs no likes, seeks no approval. It is an inner harbor where one can drop anchor and weather the storm. And it is in this understanding, in this ability to appreciate rare moments of freedom from the eternal chase, that the true wisdom Schopenhauer bequeathed to the world lies. But what are we to do with all this seemingly joyless truth that Schopenhauer has revealed to us? You're probably sitting there feeling a certain discomfort, because this is not at all what we're usually promised. This isn't a recipe for instant bliss, but rather an invitation to look into the depths of your own existence, where there is no room for sweet illusions. Your entire life, perhaps, has been subjected to this chase. You've been running in circles like a squirrel on a wheel, convinced that any moment now, a little more effort, one more purchase, one more achievement, and you'll finally catch that elusive bird of happiness. But Schopenhauer, that visionary of human nature, shows us this bird is not just a mirage. It doesn't exist in the way it's sold to us. And realizing this, paradoxically, becomes the first step toward genuine freedom. This is where the greatest paradox lies. If happiness, in its glossy, pervasive understanding, is unattainable, then why not stop chasing it? Why not step off this exhausting treadmill that only leads to exhaustion and disappointment? Isn't it time to stop comparing your authentic, living, sometimes imperfect life with the filtered, sterile ideals imposed upon you? Schopenhauer did not suggest you sink into gloom or apathy. On the contrary, he offered enlightenment. He suggested you stop being a puppet in the hands of the insatiable will, which constantly pulls the strings of your desires. True liberation begins when you realize the goal is not to achieve happiness, but to free yourself from the suffering generated by this endless, meaningless chase. This is not the absence of joy. It is the absence of anxiety about its absence. Imagine that you stop seeking validation outside yourself, in likes, in purchases, in others' approval. You stop trying to fill the bottomless barrel that cannot be filled. You simply exist. You begin to appreciate silence, peace, moments when there is no urgent need for something more. This could be a cup of coffee in the morning, a glance at passing clouds, a simple conversation with a loved one without purpose or expectation. These moments are quiet, unnoticed, but they are precisely those Sabbaths of the tormented will that Schopenhauer spoke of. They require no proof, no demonstration, no approval. They simply are. This is not an easy truth. It doesn't promise eternal bliss and doesn't fit into advertising slogans. It won't be a hit on social media because it doesn't offer a magic pill. It requires courage, the courage to look reality in the eye, to accept it as it is, with all its imperfections and inevitable sufferings. But it is in this acceptance, in this rejection of false promises, that your true, unforced freedom lies. The freedom to be yourself with all your feelings, without shame and without the eternal chase for a phantom. This is not a path to ostentatious happiness. It is a path to deep tranquility. And it begins right here and now when you dare to stop chasing what constantly eludes you and begin to appreciate what you already have, the ability to be free from illusions.